In our Western society, we have a rigid view of healing, which is often associated with images of hospitals and medical professionals such as doctors. We tend to focus primarily on the physical injuries, on what we can see, with more attention being brought to the importance of mental health and how we feel inside, even on a spiritual level. Maybe it's the right time we shift our view to what healing could be and take a page from societies that have expertise in guiding the spirit and mind. Many different cultures have practiced rituals in which they could be healed. These are performed by shamans. A shaman being a person who is able to achieve an altered state of mind through various means and then access a higher plane and bring the energy from that plane into the world. In many of these rituals, music is key to reaching an altered state of mind in order to gain a higher state of consciousness and promote healing. Modern technologies have not only influenced the distribution and experience of music, but also how music relates to the spiritual practices. Music is seen as a form of entertainment. However, music is often overlooked as a transformative and cultural entity. It's something grand that lives in the public eye, but it's also something personal in which we all have our own intimate experience with. Today, the layout of a healer and patient within shamanic terms still exists in our society. This guiding of the mind and spirit to healing is present and crucial to the well-being of a population.
Spending my time on praying. Seems days grow longer somehow, flying by so much faster. I can sing my song, but one day I might have to close that chapter. But I don't mind the waiting.
Healing from sound is a very real concept that I believe in, and like music has gotten me through so many things in my life that like I've totally been in those moments. I can think of an album that like had me in a trance. It was Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Like totally, like it's, of course it's cliche, oh everyone's got it on the t-shirt, like that's an incredible album. And when I first discovered it, like I didn't stop listening to it. I just had it over and over for like a full day, and I was totally tranced, you know. I was about to move from Scotland to London, and like at the time I had to, you know, just uproot everything again, you know. And it's like a crazy moment where like you just know that something is going to be entirely different in your life. Like all of your life is going to be entirely different now. And you know, I was stressing out about that, but for like a full day listening to that album, it like totally just brought me back down to earth. And yeah, I hope that everyone can find an album like that that does that. Turning that into something positive or turning it into something that people can relate to is like something that I really believe in. I think music has an ability to bring people together, you know, on either side of it, whether you're making the music or you're listening to it or you're at the concert, you know. It's a really powerful medium.
With such a profound impact music has, it would be negligent to deny the restorative and healing properties it possesses. Music is able to bring us together because it is innate to humanity. It's primal and raw. It allows us to process our own inner workings more efficiently. It is a sort of guide, and through processing our thoughts and emotions, we're able to create new art. An example of this interpretive art would be dance. Dance is one of the physical manifestations in which our creativity and emotions are given form through music. While music is not necessary for this expression, the inclusion of sound improves efficiency and provides a platform in which to relate to others. One such discipline is that of shamanic fusion dance. An example of this is Chimera ritual dance, developed by critically acclaimed choreographer Ananda Ray. This form of dance is unique as there is no preset choreography and it does not limit itself to any one style. The purpose of the dance is to let one's spirit guide and direct the motion, to use what is within in order to express it outward through performance. Incorporating shamanic elements only furthers the healing potential of this art form, and paired with its liberating nature of expression, becomes an example of growth for both dancer and audience.
My name is Edward Shankin. I go by Eddie, and I'm involved in shamanic fusion dance as a dancer, working with Ananda Ray and the Chimera group. My involvement with shamanic fusion dance is really in the very beginning stages. I've been to 2 new moon ceremonies. The new moon ceremonies are occasions where we gather together and investigate our own internal worlds through dance. One of the ideas of shamanic fusion dance is to confront both the light and the shadow inside ourselves, and to work with other dancers through movement to confront that and to grow as a result of that process. We use serpents, constrictors, snakes as guides, as teachers to help us through this process of confronting our fears, grappling with the shadow, and embracing the shadow with joy through movement. In one of the shamanic fusion ceremonies, there was a work that we did that involved a guided meditation. And in that guided meditation, we were led deeply into ourselves to explore certain spaces that we normally don't have access to. And by accessing those spaces, I gained insight into myself and my psyche and my personal history that was tremendously liberating. And I felt really very joyful and resolved as a result of that process of confronting some hidden spaces and releasing some of the anxiety and tension and fear that were held therein.
Shamanic dance rituals use both sound and the lack of sound to guide throughout the process.
I consider myself an artist, and not trying to sound pretentious in that connotation, you typically think of, or it's the stereotype, but I was told some philosophy and some motto that really stuck with me, and it's a quote, and it goes like this. It says, he who works with his hands is a laborer, he who works with his hands and his mind is a craftsman, and he who works with his hands, his mind and his heart is an artist. And that's something that I've been able to take with me throughout my life. And I was heavily involved in the arts, specifically music, in percussion ensembles. I was a member of what we call the front ensemble, and I specifically did guitar and general and electronics. So this consisted of samples that we need to play, and also just general like live mixing. This is I guess like how can you say this, mission critical performance. There's everything we do is like live. There's no redos. So making sure all of the electronics are running and going at each like section of our show is very important. You know, it's part of making sure we have a well-oiled machine and getting our message across. Oftentimes people are in tears, like, you know, performing this, and it's you know, it makes you realize like how much music can tap into this spiritual, emotional aspect, like within the heart. Even when you're going out there for your first performance, and it's like, yeah, this is a really cool show, this is a really awesome idea. It's not until you're out there in the actual, like, down in like the actual midst of, it's not until you're out there and actually performing this whole thing that it really clicks, and it's the only place that it could really all come out in the heat of that moment. So, I mean, to me, spiritually has always been the biggest. I mean, maybe emotionally would be another word for that as well, but I see the two intertwined, and I always felt music and Broken City's like performances have been like the medium in which I've been able to get this out there. Being out there on that floor and experience and actually being able to perform my piece is like so phenomenal, but then it's also a great way to allow for community to come together. I mean, it's like that. It's the medium in which we can become like closer knit as, say, some society or some family, and whatever you want to attribute that to be. It's just some group of humans that music will allow us to share an experience in that, you know, I think deep inside we all recognize as feeling.
Benjamin D. Koen writes in his introduction, Confluence of Consciousness in Music, Medicine, and Culture. Music is a cultural phenomenon with infinitely diverse meanings that are present at an individual, group, and global levels of culture. Music has been a context for and a vehicle of expressing the most deeply embedded beliefs and aspirations of human life, and a route to create or recreate a balanced and healthy state of being within individuals, families, and societies. Can you yourself think of any ways in which music can bring balance to your life?